Well, hello. Every gal needs a cowboy hat.
Scanning the room, you look for a familiar face. Everyone is a stranger. Your heart's racing, you feel nauseous. New plan. You meet 4 new people. Okay, 3. 2? You can handle 2. And then you think, I hate this. This just feels so fake. And before you talk to even 1 new person, you're looking for the nearest exit.
Okay. Crazy. Yo, who invited this chick?
My heart races when I walk into a room full of strangers too. Except it's not anxiety, it's excitement. I'm not thinking networking quota. I'm thinking, look at all these stories. And I get so pumped about talking to people that I don't know.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Well, hello and welcome everyone to Curious Minds with Gail Now. I am Gail Robertson, host of this show, and I'm really excited to be here today and welcoming an amazing guest. For those of you that do follow me, I talk a lot about sign up, suit up, and show up, and also the power of curiosity. And today we're going to be jumping into the topic of AI, artificial intelligence. And we're going to be speaking with a lawyer. But this isn't just your regular everyday lawyer. No way. This is someone who has embraced, we're going to be talking about that word embrace digital, embrace social media, embrace so many things that are forward thinking in the law world. But we're also going to be looking at how this impacts manufacturing. And hey, if you're tuning in right now and you're not in law or manufacturing, don't worry, we're still going to be talking about how it applies to just about everything, whether it's real estate, whether it's economics, whether it's accounting. The issue of AI can be used in so many things. So we're going to be jumping in and being able to get very curious today. And if you do have any questions, please drop them into the comment section and we'll try to get to them. And without further ado, I was going to say that's kind of an overused word, but I'm going to still say it. Without further ado, welcome the one and only Mitch Jackson.
Gail, I think we need to say yeehaw because you had me with that cowboy hat on your intro. You know, I grew up on a ranch in Tucson. I've always had 10, 15 different cowboy hats growing up, a couple of different pairs of cowboy boots, you know, until I moved here to Southern California before the internet, before Web3, before AI. So that resonated with me. It's great to be on your show, and I'm looking forward to diving into all the different ways that your community can embrace and use AI to be better, faster, and deliver better experiences for their clients and customers. This is going to be fun.
It will be. And, one of the things that I find really interesting is we met, I think it was during COVID or just before, virtually in a digital, it was on a virtual power networking, speed networking. And I inadvertently hung up. I still remember I clicked the wrong button. I lost you. And I was like, and I knew I was speaking to the one and only Mitch Jackson. I was like panicked and I had to go search you and find you and send you a message. I don't know if you remember it. I remember it like it was yesterday because I had followed you from Twitter. I knew you through Jim Fuse and I knew that it was, I couldn't believe I'd hung up on you by mistake.
I'm such a big fan of Jim's. And look, with AI today, that's not going to happen anymore. Super easy to stay connected, super easy to be productive. And it's really easy to really create more entertaining, engaging, content, whether it's a show like this or whether we're sending a demand letter to opposing counsel or you've got somebody in manufacturing that's trying to improve the entire process from A to Z. We're living in an exciting time, Gail. I'm glad I'm not on the ranch. I'm glad I'm here in Southern California, and I'm glad I'm here with you today on your show.
Well, thank you. And I love how obviously you are an amazing lawyer. I've been following you as a lawyer. I'm always learning things, but what's really interesting is that how you're able to adapt your knowledge into so many other different areas. And obviously that's helping you do some other work in the area of mediation. We're going to be coming back to that because anybody listening in that may be wondering like, I I don't like AI. So let's jump right into the people, because I hear this a lot. I don't like AI. I've been asked it because they think, as a writer and a publicist, that I'm going to say, oh, yeah, I hate it. And I go, I love it. It's a tool that I can use. So let's talk about how the people that may be listening to this reluctantly, they may not like AI, they may be afraid of it, or maybe they may even be reluctant to say that they're afraid of it. Let's talk about, just give an overview of what AI is and should we be afraid of it?
Absolutely. So, so look, bear with me. It's 10 a.m. here in Southern California. I'm on my second cup of coffee. I've been in court, legal Zooms, all morning long. And what I told my panel, I was on the AI panel at the Clio conference in Nashville last month. It's the largest legal conference in the world. I was honored to be one of three people, three lawyers on the panel. We had a standing room only presentation. Okay. I think it was the most popular, event at the conference. And I started off my part of the presentation with the AI train has already left the station. This isn't a question of whether or not you like it, whether or not you're going to use it, whether or not it's something you should be interested in. This is a matter of, understanding that the only constant in business is change. And right now we're experiencing the biggest, fastest, best change we've ever seen in the history of humanity. And when I say, I'm also talking about Web3 and metaverse technology, but we're going to focus on AI today. This is a situation where get over yourself as far as, do I want to incorporate this into my business? Do I want to learn what this is? Instead, flip the switch, have a new mindset. You need to know as much as you can about how you can leverage the power of AI safely and securely in your industry, your business, in your production line, in your manufacturing process to be better, to stay ahead of the competition, and frankly, to deliver a better experience to your customers and clients. So, AI is changing everything. And I just am so done with spending any time talking about should we, could we, will it. Instead, what I really want to hammer home with everyone is get on the AI train and start playing around with different platforms we're going to be talking about during today's show, privately on your own time, before or after hours. See how easy it is to use, and then use some of the things that Gail and I are going to be talking about in your business and practice to really take things to the next level, and frankly, to help keep you in business over the next 12 months, 18 months, 5 and 10 years. Because if you're not leveraging AI to do all the above, you're positioning yourself to basically become, not as relevant as you should be. And maybe you're actually, guiding yourself out of business altogether. That's how important AI is. And I think that's how important our conversation will be today, Gail.
Thank you. That is, and it reminds me of, it used to be we were having some of these discussions around social media. There still are people that say, they don't like social media, don't use it. And I'm come from the same place as you. If a client or someone I'm working with, I'm not willing to convince them. I just move along. Like, I need to work with people who say, yeah, they want to bring me in to help them with that, to help tell and share their stories using all the tools available. And you are someone I know, your story is fascinating because you went through this already. This is not your first rodeo. See,
Look,
like that little.
Yeah. So let me jump in here real quick. Just to look, this is not social media. This is social media is the little street that takes you from your home down to the donut shop. Okay, AI, Web3, the metaverse. It's the planet. It's the universe. It's something that 10 million other things are going to be built on top of. And back when we started leveraging the internet back in the late 80s and early 90s, look, we had to code in order to get on to bulletin boards, in order to do really basic things. When the web browsers came along back in the early 90s, it changed everything. It made it really easy for all of us to start accessing and leveraging the power of the metaverse, whether it was for the internet, whether it was to build our brands, to get our questions answered, to deliver better solutions to clients. Instead of one-on-one across my desk, it was 1 to 1,000, 1 to 10,000. And fast forward to today, that's where we are with this new technology. It's changing everything. And the beautiful thing about it, Gail, is that It's actually very easy to use. Your listeners, people watching the show, people listening to the podcast version of the show, they'll be able to, at the end of the show, actually start just using their voice, using their camera on their phone, or typing using text to do the things that we're going to be talking about. So it's super easy to use if you go about it the right way, to dip your toe into the social media sandbox. And then from there, you can take it as far as you want. And one of the reasons I've been able to get the results that we've gotten in court, trying cases over the last 37 years, one of the reasons we're able to get the results for our mediation clients, because we do use AI to help us with the mediation process. One of the reasons that I've been able to build a global brand as a lawyer is because we've been early in all of these spaces. And time is money in my profession. The last thing I'm ever going to do, Gail, is waste time. What I think is really important is to be early, especially when it's using and leveraging and incorporating game-changing technology into everything that we do. So like I said, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're selling tires down at the corner tire store, whether you're in manufacturing, this is something and an opportunity right now, today. If you've never played around with AI, if you've never given thought to how you can use it in your business or practice, if you start today, you're going to be ahead of 99.99% of everyone else in your industry, of all of your competitors. So you're not late to the show, you're early. And I've always done that as a lawyer, as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, as an investor. And I'm 10xing that effort today, Gail. That's how important and how exciting and how game changing I believe this new technology is moving forward for all of us.
And I know you speak from great experience. And one of the things that I find really fascinating too is that if AI can work in the law world and in legal issues, when you think that would be an area you think there'd be a lot of fear, a lot of like, oh, how can you use it in that area? So can you maybe give an example of maybe the initial concern? And because I think it's good for people to understand, like in the world of law, maybe you can give a story that would resonate. And then I have a few things I want to talk about, including manufacturing and mold making and AI.
Ooh, mold making. Okay, so absolutely. So because I want to make sure we focus on the manufacturing aspect of AI and production, when it comes to the legal practice, it's making good lawyers better lawyers. Okay, it's helping us be better, faster, more efficient, deliver better client experiences. The due diligence aspect that we need to take is what the response we're being given, is it accurate? Is it actually valid case law? Is it something that complies with California law and California and American Bar Association ethics rules and regulations? These are all things that we need to double down on with respect to the output. And I think whatever the industry, whatever you're doing, just keep in mind that you want to, right now, really do your due diligence on the output. AI right now in the legal field is getting better and better, but it's not exceptional when it comes to legal research. We're using it right now where if I'm in a mediation and I've got a party in one room and another party or parties in other rooms, and we've reached an impasse, we can't come up with that number. We're not sure what the next step is. I can feed into AI my party's mediation briefs, the personalities of the lawyers, the personalities of the parties. What's Gail really like? What are her hobbies, interests, and passions as it might relate to her business? And I can ask the AI literally within 15 seconds, give me 10 open-ended questions to come back into the conversation with when I walk back into the Zoom breakout rooms to keep the conversation moving forward. That's a powerful way of using AI with incorporating the human aspect of communication into dispute resolution processes. I was trying a big wrongful death case. We did settle the case, so I didn't get to do this, but it was in a very conservative venue, and I needed to make sure that my jurors that were in this venue would be open to the arguments I wanted to present in order for me to get the money damages, substantial money damages my client was entitled to. So we fed in everything you can think about this community, whether it's trending topics in the community, the values of the community, political insights and biases with respect to that community. And I asked AI to help me come up with open-ended questions to ask and talk to my jurors about in order for me to have a really good understanding as to who's sitting in those in the jury box. And so I want your audience to think about whoever their clients and customers are, whatever the challenges are in their world, how can you ask AI? How can you properly prompt AI to take you by the hand and instantly bring in the top experts from around the world in your industry to help walk you through the decision making process, the problem solving process? The answers to the questions that keep you awake at night are now simply a prompt away. How you prompt AI allows you to actually create an environment where you're sitting across the desk, or in our case, on your phone or a computer monitor from the top experts in the world regarding your products, your services, and your industry. So those are just a couple of the 30,000-foot examples of how you can use AI to frankly improve your business and your life.
That's great. And I spent some time actually listening just some beginner podcasts about AI, which was very helpful just to, for me, was helping to connect the dots of how AI, we're already using it. We rely on it. For all the people that sometimes don't like it, they're also using AI in every part of the world often, but they may not even realize it, right? I want to just go through something quickly because I did ask, I asked in ChatGPT about mold making in AI because I do work in the world of mold making, tool makers. So this was some of the topics. I just want to list them out because in case anybody is listening from my mold making community, here are some things that AI could help with. Design optimization, predictive maintenance, quality control, process automation, generative design, simulation and prototyping, supply chain optimization, and collaborative robots. That I got in like just a few seconds, right? So if anyone's listening, you can actually, I use ChatGPT as a research tool, and it's not going to, it will replace some jobs. I've been doing some research on that, but it's also going to add, I heard one stat, it's going to replace 8 million jobs, but create 9 million new ones. So any thoughts on that? Because as you were talking, I was also thinking, recruiting and retention are big issues right now in the world of manufacturing, making sure, we're getting enough people and holding on to them. So maybe you could extend that discussion a bit more on how what you learned in that area.
Sure. I wrote an article on LinkedIn about how the automobile industry and technology behind the assembly line and Model T changed transportation for good or bad forever, right? We talked about the use of the horse and buggy in large cities, the amount of manure that was being accumulated each day, some of the health problems, and how the Model T and Henry Ford changed everything, at least here in the United States. Jobs were lost if you were a horseshoer. And I grew up on a ranch, where we had furriers, doing all of that. If your job was to build wagon wheels, yes, it definitely did interrupt your life. But when you look back in time, hundreds of thousands of new jobs, of new industries were formed because of this innovation. I see the same thing happening with AI. Okay, jobs will be lost, but new job opportunities. And I made a couple of notes based upon some things that you and I talked about. We're expecting to see AI system data analysis needs and prompting, writing and creating the AI task to substantially increase. Data analysis, technicians skilled in maintaining and improving the AI intelligent systems, ethics, policy, and training protocols. We need people that can help train the AI and teach teams and employees and management, the CEOs, how to do all the above. So I think what's going to happen is it's going to help reduce and eventually eliminate tedious, repetitive tasks, opening up for all of us to do things that have a little bit more meaning, maybe for, not only the company, but for our lives. It's going to give us the opportunity to add more value to our company, to the community, and frankly, the things that are important to us. And so for those reasons, and whether we like it or not, this is happening. And I've always been one of those glass half full kinds of human beings. We want to embrace it. When you talk about molds, I think what's really interesting, and I gave this example at the conference we just spoke of. This has just been out for about a month now. Is you can take your phone and with GPT-4, for example, which is the open AI AI system. Excuse me. I'm getting choked up about this because I'm so excited. This is game changing. This is game changing. You can actually take a photograph with your phone of a mold, maybe a mold that's broken, maybe a part of an assembly line in your factory that creates the molds. You can actually take a picture, and with the right prompt, the AI can analyze what's right or wrong from what's depicted in the picture. How can this be more efficient? Why did this particular product crack or break based upon this assembly setup? All of this with a photograph. You can upload these photographs into your desktop or laptop and run the same types of prompts. So what we're seeing our clients doing, what I'm doing, is oftentimes, and I gave an example on LinkedIn in my LinkedIn newsletter, Gail, about the exploding Ford Pinto case. Okay, we all know about that famous case, but what if somebody had taken the Ford design diagrams, put it into Chat GPT-4, like I just described, just taking a picture of the diagram, asking the right prompts. I shared with everyone what the response was, and it discovered design design issues with respect to the gas tank being placed at the back of the vehicle instead of in front of the rear axle. It detected diagrams of the wiring of the Ford Pinto and why there were wiring issues that might actually cause a fire. All of these things can be determined ahead of time simply by taking a picture or uploading a schematic or a diagram or uploading data from an Excel spreadsheet, for example, and then asking AI to run an analysis, just as if you were an expert doing it yourself. So that's a really easy and simple way to leverage AI in the mold, when it comes to molds in moving forward. How can we make this better? How can I make this more efficient? What are some different composites that we can use to help create this mold that will, help the the period of time that we can use this mold, that will help it be lighter, more flexible. I mean, whatever the parameters are, AI can help us get answers to do it better and faster.
I've got a few questions, but I want to bring up a comment here from none other than, Aiden Robertson. Oh, that's my son.
Aiden, I love it. Great comment too. Yeah,
Yeah, love the positive spin. And he also added this, which he goes, so true. We sometimes become too bogged down by the negatives. We have to look at things from a broader perspective.
So Aiden, let me just share this, Gail, because it's super important. I've had the pleasure of helping hundreds of companies start up over the last 3 decades, right? One of the advantages of being a lawyer, and I'm a first generation lawyer. I didn't grow up in a family full of lawyers. I was the first one to go to law school, much college, much less law school. But what I've discovered, especially in today's world, Gail, is everything you guys see on your screens right now, everything you see on your screen, these companies, these startups, these entrepreneurs, they're talking with lawyers 6 months to 12 months ahead of anything that you're seeing. So I have the privilege of seeing the insight of where the trends are and where we're going with this technology, right? Whether it's using images to begin our AI prompts, whether it's using voice to simply talk into your phone or device instead of typing it out. This is happening. This is the future. The glass is half full. You can't just put your head in the sand and ignore this stuff. Excuse me. I think what's really important, and I'm going to let you talk for a few seconds, Gail, while I mute, is to do what Aiden said and, embrace this technology and learn as much about it as you can, because I think within a week or two, it's not going to take you too long. You're going to be reaching out to Gail and yours truly and saying, thank you for the show. Thank you for giving me the courage and the motivation to take this calculated risk because it changed my life.
And I am going to let you, I know you might need to get a
I'm
little.
good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Well, a couple of things you said that I love the concept of, being able to take a photo and do an analysis, because that in so many areas, people can use that. But here's the key thing that a lot of people forget about, and I've heard this when it comes to social media too, is that I've heard that, we need young people to do social media, but actually a lot of times when it comes to doing social media, having that experience, knowing how to tell stories, when I'm looking at a lot of posts, a lot of times it's people with that experience, that depth of knowledge, and know how to share the stories, not just using the technology, not just using, the whatever platform. And when it comes to AI, it does require someone to put in the prompts. And as I've dabbled in it, but it is very difficult to, like, you really have to do your research too. You have to know how to ask the right questions, which as a recovering journalist, research is important.
Sometimes I think I've got AI on the witness stand and I'm conducting a cross-examination of the AI. And I want people to think about that. You ask a question, it gives you a response. Maybe you ask a question, you've taken a picture of your widget, of your mold, and you've asked it, how can I improve this product? Here are the specs. Tell me how I can create this product better, faster, and for less money, right? So it comes up with its response. You're going to be blown away by the response that it gives you. Then what you want to do is say, with respect to number 5 of your response, dive a bit deeper. How can I do this? How long will it take? Give me a 6-month schedule, with a daily task in order for me to achieve this goal within 6 months or 3 months or whatever your timetable is. The key is to keep asking questions, to keep diving deeper into the issue you're trying to resolve. So that's my nature as a lawyer, Gail. If I had you on the stand, you're not getting down until you answer my question. I mean, I'm going to go all Harvey Specter on you until we're done with, and I get what I need, right? Well, all of you have permission to be the Harvey Specter of AI prompters. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch the show Suits, right? It's really, really good. Gail, my daughter, turned me on to it a month and a half ago, and I can't stop watching. Anyway, back to the topic. Really learn how to create prompts, okay? Whether it's using your voice, whether it's typing them, there are a ton of resources out there, Gail, that will help people use prompts. But the bottom line is you want to be specific. Be specific in what you ask. Give the AI permission. For example, if I was doing a prompt about molds, right? And this isn't my area of expertise.
I know.
Let's say it's
Great.
a mold. It's a mold to create, a widget that's used in a car or a swimming pool pump or whatever it might be, right? So you ask a prompt, here's how you do it. You do it something like this. You are a top mechanical engineer. You have 3 decades of experience creating XYZ molds. You understand there's a problem with ABC, whatever it may be. Give me 10 steps I can take to overcome this problem. With respect to each step, list what type of outside service I may need to help analyze and put the fix into motion. With respect to each step, let me know how long it's going to take, how much money it's going to cost, and please provide a complete, thorough, and detailed response in your prompt response. Also, and here's the key, emotions are important. Put the pressure on the AI. Say something like, my job security, the future of my employment at this company may actually depend on how good your response is. Please take your time and provide me with the best response possible. Believe it or not, studies are showing that by adding that last sentence into the mix, you're getting a response quality improvement of 20 to 30%. Don't ask me why, but obviously I think it's basically asking the AI or reminding the AI, hey, take a little bit extra time with this particular response. We've been doing that when it comes to using AI to create better templates, better text messages for our clients. I've always prided myself, Gail, on the quality of our work product, the letters we send to our clients, the emails and texts that we use. And what we're noticing is we're refeeding them back into AI, and we're telling AI, you're an expert communicator. You've graduated from the communication school of XYZ. Rewrite the following email or rewrite the following letter, and then you're going to paste it below in a way that does not contain any fluff. It's easy to understand. It's going to keep the reader's attention. It's going to encourage the reader to take the requested step or call to action. Like get back to me about scheduling your deposition, or please respond to these interrogatory responses. This is the third time I've asked. You can use AI to improve what you do internally so that externally your first impression, the things you need your clients and customers to do are going to get done. So that's just another little tip about the quality of a prompt and how you can use it in a really easy way to make a huge difference in your company or in your practice.
Well, I will say you're getting some really good marks, I think, in terms of how you're adapting your answers to the
Ooh,
manufacturing and even more specific, the mold making world. So very helpful
good,
for me as
good.
well, because I want to do a future blog about this and using AI as a tool, but I still want to incorporate, some people that I'm going to be interviewing and weaving in the combination of using AI as a tool for research and then still doing that original person-centered research. I love that you've added in that kind of that human element. And I know you've also talked about how AI is continually learning. Maybe you can answer
Mhm.
that about how it's continually learning and also the issue of bias, because I've read a lot, especially when
Sure.
it comes to the political world. I'm someone that studies from a curiosity perspective, the different, perspectives and what gets covered,
Right.
what doesn't get covered. And people think Google is, Google has a bias too. There's some things that you're not going to find on Google, right? So
We all do. Everybody
yeah,
does. Everything does, right?
everything.
And that's so I've actually written about that over the last couple of weeks. I came up at the conference, and a couple of specific answers to your thoughts to your questions. Okay, at the conference, it was brought up from the audience. Well, Mitch, what about that high profile case in New York where the attorneys cited and had AI write their brief, and the cases that were cited in the brief didn't exist? AI just made them up and did it in such a way that nobody realized it, except obviously the judge and the clerk. Um, my response was several weeks before attending the conference, I was in open court. Opposing counsel at the end of the counsel table, cited bad law to the judge. The law had been overturned. And it wasn't on purpose, but this individual had not done their homework before coming into court. Happens all the time. Um, the difference between the two is that AI does constantly train and get better. And some of the things and issues we see happening today aren't going to be in existence a year from now. And we can talk about it if you'd like. But what I'm saying is it trains to get better. I happen to know the lawyer that was on the other end of counsel table. I know who it is. This individual was more concerned about his, her, or their, I'm not going to mention it, who it was, tea time that afternoon than getting back to the office and correcting the brief, right? Human nature. So I have more confidence in humanity, more confidence in AI than I do in humanity with fixing a lot of these problems, whether it's helping fix the environment, whether it's coming up with new ways in medicine or science, whether or not it's helping eliminate bias. I have confidence in AI doing that. And so the challenge with AI, bias in AI, is that the questions we're asking AI to do, and by asking oral, photographs, typing them in, whatever it may be, monitoring a process on a production line. And for example, BMW takes photographs of their production line. They're constantly monitoring, in milliseconds, everything that's happening to improve the process, to make sure everything's done correctly. But everything is being based on large language models, on data that the AI is being trained on. And if those models have bias built in, the output's going to have bias. And so it's a really big issue. And uh, what's important right now is for all of us to be aware of that. In other words, the suggestions that it may be telling us to do when it comes to hiring an employee, when it comes to what questions we should be asking during a new employee interview, whether questions what I should be asking a jury, are those questions based on an objective analysis of the facts of the issues before us? Or is there something there that's premised on gender bias, the difference between a man and a woman? There are studies out there, and I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, might have been with Amazon, if I'm not mistaken, where the problem was all of the interview questions, the interview protocols, getting ready for that big interview. It was all predicated upon how a man would answer the question or how a man would expect those answers to be, as opposed to every human being regarding of race, gender, or age, or any other differentiations that we have. And so, yeah, it's an issue, but I have more confidence in AI fixing that issue than what I've seen where we are in the world today. I mean, look at what's happening in the world today. Are humans really going to be the solution to fix all of our problems? Right? That's another conversation for another
That is,
time.
I would
But
love,
it's
because
like,
that is a
you know,
topic that I find really fascinating. Same thing like with self-driving cars. I one time worked in the insurance industry and looking at, we think we're better than sometimes the technology. And I think that's still an issue of that could be a whole other discussion as
I
to
mean,
what do we rely on? Because humans, we're tired. There's lots of issues related to how accidents happen. And usually there's not really accidents. Like there's, well, that's a whole other discussion. Are there really accidents?
right. I don't even use the word accident half the time when I'm
Yeah.
representing a client. It's a collision. It's,
Yeah.
something that someone else has done wrong. Look, here's the thing. Here's the thing that I think everyone needs to pay attention to is what's happening is our conversation, the accumulation of data and analyzing things and results is happening in real time right now. And it's important for us as business owners to really embrace this new real time data, uh, to provide better products and services, better client experiences. And what's blowing me away right now are wearable technologies, for example, where if you only spoke Spanish and I only spoke English, we could be having this conversation right now in real time with instant audio language translations happening without you and I even thinking about it or telling the AI what our respective languages are. This product it just came out this week. It's a wearable device. It doesn't require connection to the internet and it's available for sale starting tomorrow. When we're in metaverse spaces, Gail, having conversations, that technology is already here. Above your avatar is a translation of what I'm reading and vice versa above my head. So it's allowing us to communicate with people from all over the world, build new relationships, build new customer bases, answer questions that need to be answered by existing clients quickly, efficiently, and in a way that they understand. And frankly, they appreciate we've taken the time to communicate with them the way they'd like to communicate with us. All of these things are happening. When you combine all of that, and I'm talking about the communication benefits that AI is bringing to the table, with the benefits of being able to create content, to build our brands, to market our services, to show our clients and customers the benefits that we offer. This is something we're all learning together, right? I look back at my original content creation efforts using AI 6 months ago and I cringe, right? It's like, oh boy, that thing just sounds like a robot talking to somebody. But now, fast forward to today, because of how we use prompts, what you're seeing in my content on the different platforms, that's exactly what I want you to see, whether you like it or not. It's
Mhm.
clear, it's concise, it's offering solutions, whether it is 20% my voice or 100% my voice, where I've simply run my prior blog post or chapter in a book through AI, using it as a grammar checker and a spelling checker. And maybe I add something like, Mitch, and I did this just the other day and it took off. Rewrite this conversation out as though it's a conversation between Harvey Specter and Louis Litt in the show Suits and have some fun with it. And it took a dry and mundane legal, but important legal issue I want my creators and entrepreneurs and artists to know about into a fun little read for those of you that are fans of Suits are going to enjoy reading. And when it's all said and done, there's a lesson at the end. It took about 45 seconds to do that, Gail. So, I just had someone reach out to me about the podcast that I'm doing. And what we're doing is I've been podcasting since 2016, 2017, maybe even before. And what we're doing is to save time is we're using different AI tools to basically take something that I've written, convert it into my voice that the AI is trained to duplicate. It's not perfect, but it will be in about a year. Right now, I think people that know me know that it's not me, it's an AI. And we're taking this and we're creating podcast episodes that are specific, on point, adding major value. And each episode's taking, oh, I don't know, maybe from start to finish, from creation to upload to distribution, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And for those of you that podcast, this is something that easily used to take us hours and hours to do. And so I know it's not perfect, but here's what's happening is it's allowing me to answer important questions, especially on breaking news. It's allowing me to protect my time and energy by getting it done quickly. It's allowing me to stand out from the noise and do something in a way that most other podcasters aren't creating content. And it resulted in a very big publication just this morning, Gail, reach out to do an interview with me about how I'm doing this podcast. With all the podcasters out there, for them to reach out to me, I mean, that tells you there's something about being early. It tells you about being unique. Give yourself permission to do things different than how everyone else in town is doing it, whether your town's in the real world or your town's in a community on one of the social platforms. So I don't know what the original question was, Gail, but I wanted to just share with everybody, these are the reasons why you see not only me, but a lot of other people really leveraging this technology because we know it's here. It allows us to be better and faster, and it allows us to get on shows with amazing human beings like you to talk about this stuff, right? If what you and I talk about, if it just resonates with one of your listeners or viewers, I'm going to consider this a win, right? But I have a feeling 95% plus of your live or recorded viewers and listeners are going to be looking at this and saying, hey, if that knucklehead that Gail had on the show, he certainly doesn't seem to be the brightest bulb in the lamp. If he can do it, I can do it too. So that's my takeaway.
Well, I like too that, both of us, what we have in common is, first people to go off to university or college, first, to go off and do, and I know you've talked about this, why you're a perfect Curious Minds guest is that you do embrace curiosity. And, I almost went into law at one point too, but I chose journalism instead. And because I think we both wanted to change the world, but just took different avenues. The other thing for anyone listening, and based on what you just said, we did a little quick preparation for this. I did some preparation using AI to make sure, what are the questions? What are some topics that also help me be a better interviewer? I still have to do my job in terms of putting some of the ideas together, and you have done an amazing job because I looking at some of the questions and you wonderfully answer them because we talked about the transforming the landscape of manufacturing businesses. We talked about the different AI technologies that can be applied in law, manufacturing, just about any area. I'm going to skip down let's bring up, we have Keith Clark here. So let's see what he said. He said, good stuff, Mitch. You said, feed it some data. In that WD case, let's talk about those issues around data quality. Perfect timing. I wanted to talk about data quality and data security. So thank you, Keith, for asking that question and commenting. And if anyone else, please drop a comment where you're from, and also if you have a question, you have now, this would have cost you a lot more money if you're talking to Mitch.
Not necessarily, because I love talking about this stuff.
You were very generous with your time, but if someone has a question, let's line them up.
So let's talk about Keith's question, maybe from a more general, response, so I can accommodate other questions that we're getting. It's really important, like anything else, the quality of the data that you're putting in, the quality of the data in your prompts will dictate the quality of the responses, okay, of what you need to do next. And by the way, once you get your responses, Gail, what I've noticed this my whole life, is you need to take action on those responses. Just getting the responses and having AI tell you what to do, that's not going to get you anywhere. You got to take massive action on what you need to do next. Okay, so as far as the data that goes into these platforms, as of today, and this is changing as we speak, and it's changing quickly. What I'm talking about is We are, for example, this is a great example. I had GPT-4, OpenAI's system, which is I'm a big fan of right now. Okay, there are some legal issues with intellectual property rights stuff and things like this, but just generally speaking, it now allows you, as of within the last couple of days, to create your own AI bots. Okay, and the reason this is so important is it only takes 5 or 10 minutes. All you have to do is type in what you want it to do, and it'll create a bot, something you can use in your business, with your team, with the general public, if you want to allow people to go in and get their questions answered, to get their schedules worked out, to get any answers they may have about your company, your human resource manuals, your production schedules, whatever it may be. Okay, so this weekend, just for fun, I put together a couple of bots. One bot is the AI negotiator. Okay, and if you go to the AI negotiator, it's mitchjackson.com/AI dash, I think it's negotiation. Just look in my LinkedIn feed or my Twitter feed. You'll see both of them. It's the red circle. What you can do is you can go in and ask any negotiation question, whether it's business related, you want to raise, you're not sure how to address an issue with a co-employee, whatever it may be, all the way over to negotiating what do you want to have for dinner tonight at home, or what movie do you want to see on a Friday night on Netflix, or whatever it may be, right? But here's what we did, Gail. We set up the bot for free. It's a GPT-4, so it's on the paid plan. It's $20 a month or something. And I uploaded the PDF to two of my books. One of my books is the Mediator Handbook, which has taken 3 decades of all my mediation and sales and opening statements and closing arguments and everything I've watched my clients do. We instantly uploaded that into the data set. And then we took another book that I wrote. Let me see if I got it here real quick, because I want you guys. Right, so here's the Mediator's Handbook. Okay, and it's a PDF version or Word version. So we uploaded this, and then we uploaded another book. It's a Trial Lawyer's Negotiation Secrets, which has a lot of the same information that I put together over 30 years. Took a couple of minutes, right? Now that bot's available to the world. If anybody has a question about negotiation or sales, they can go in and ask the questions, and the bot will give them, frankly, access to everything that I would tell them. And it's so powerful. It was so easy to put together. This morning, we just uploaded another bot, and it's the AI brand bot. But what it is it's taken this book, How to Create AI Web3 and Metaverse Branding and Licensing Opportunities, and for entertainers, creators, or artists, and even business owners, and how to leverage these new spaces with building your brand. And instead of just performing on stage in Vegas, creating a virtual environment where you're performing as an entertainer, in one of the big metaverse venues. This is a big deal right now. Obviously, for those of you following what's happening in Hollywood and the strikes and things like this, I can tell you right now, every single entertainer and artist and creator wants to know more about how do I create a brand and protect that brand in these new spaces. And AI has everything to do with what I just said, right? And so it's a matter of putting this information in and then making it available either privately within your company. Maybe it's a human resource manual, maybe it's how-to manual for creating XYZ within your company. Or if you do what I'm doing, I'm just putting it out there because I believe in karma. I just believe in doing good things for people. And when people have questions about all of the above, they're going to circle back. And then if they have a mediation issue, we'll get them set up with a Zoom mediation and, turn their conflicts into collaboration. So that's a really good way, I think, of importing data into these chat bots, which are only going to get better and better. If you're curious as to where you can learn more about these chat bots, just check out, Gail will probably post something on LinkedIn. Go to openai.com and drill down a little bit. You'll see how to do this by setting up your free GPT-4 account. Gail, it's so powerful. It's so easy. But that's what we're doing is right now, if you're uploading, for example, in my mediations, if I'm uploading Gail's mediation brief and 3 other briefs from 3 other attorneys, we always pay attention to privacy. It's really important to us. So what we do is we'll redact a lot of the information, names, personal information, the names of doctors, anything that's private before we upload it into these data sets. We're being told that the APIs that we're using will protect our clients' private data from the rest of the world. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not. So for now, what we're doing is we're doing our due diligence and we're being extra cautious. I'd encourage your listeners to do the same thing with their company information. Talk to a AI technology expert who's creating these things for you to really wrap your head around whether or not it's private and protected. But in the meantime, by doing that, it allows you to build these data sets so that when you type something in, it's relating to your content, your work, the way you like to deal with issues and problems during the negotiation process, for example, as opposed to me relying on someone else that may not know what he, she, or they is doing. So that's what the data sets are all about when it comes to you and I making our own data sets and using them in business.
Yes, and you mentioned some, AI technology expert. These are all jobs, anybody that has an interest in this too. And if you are a company, there are people out there that they're, specialize in this area. I was just speaking to someone yesterday about this, about the importance of, hiring people that are experts in certain areas too, right? So whether it's like, I have someone, thankfully, longtime person I know, I call him my tech guru. He helps, make sure I'm on using VPN. I always say now, never, ever use public Wi-Fi without VPN. Like that's like a rule everybody should live by. And there's just things like that around AI. I love that there's all these new jobs and data analysts, data scientists. This is all the new, what the future holds for people. We're going to need a lot more resources.
We are. And along those lines, Gail, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out just quickly, because I'm not going to keep going on. I have a tendency to go on. I'm sorry about that. But look, for those of you with large teams, with employees, if you're listening to this, what I'm saying and what Gail's sharing with you, it's going to resonate with you as far as privacy, data protection, and things like this, okay? But you want to make sure that when you talk to your teams about this and they're sitting over in the corner on their laptop, tapping into these databases, they need to make sure they're aware of what they can and can't do too. They may not be able to wrap their minds around how whatever they put into, let's just say the public GPT-3 or even private GPT-4, arguably might be available to the world. And so just be really careful with what you're allowing your team members to do. The other big issue we're seeing right now, Gail, when it comes to agencies and marketing companies creating content for their clients and customers, we're seeing them using AI right now because of intellectual property issues, what's allowed and what's not allowed. There's a lot of class action lawsuits going on right now to come up with ideas, to come up with marketing plans. But as far as using AI to create an image or music or even text that may be used on a 30-second, $8 million Super Bowl ad, they're not allowing that right now because there are some IP issues with whether or not that final image that you're using, whether or not it's actually protected by copyright. And the courts are trying to figure all this out right now, along with state and federal legislators. So kind of be careful with how you use it internally and make sure your team is aware of what the company policy is so that you don't get yourself into unnecessary, legal trouble.
That's perfect. I was going to ask some questions around that, around the security. So you've answered that question, Mitch. Thank you. Because, we gave that example of taking the photo of a mold, finding what's problem. That could be something that's proprietary. Mm-hmm. So need to be aware that about training. So I put that down in my notes. So when I do the blog that, companies also, it's one thing to put in general information and get something out. But if you're putting in, photos or private information, company information, make sure that you know what you're doing and that it may not be private. And, I say
and keep it in the company. Keep it in the company, right? Yeah. If you're selling it to a third party, if you're creating content for a client, that's where I think that red flag needs to come out. But as far as generation of ideas and approaches and processes and, price forecasting, quality control, self-optimizing ideas and concepts, forecasting how you need to change your products, services, or assembly procedures moving forward. I think AI is perfect for doing all of those things internally within your company.
And I think anybody could probably reach out to you and hire you, bring you in as a consultant on this. And
Not
also,
me, not
oh,
me,
no.
maybe you. But I am here to meet. I am here to mediate. You know what's interesting is we've been mediating. I've been trying cases and mediating cases forever. But here's something a lot of people don't think about is the rules and regulations or laws are so new in the Web3 space, like we've been talking
Mhm.
about,
Yep.
that a lot of companies, they don't want their legal disputes to be public. They don't know if they spend 2 years of their life and millions of dollars in litigation fees and expenses, how a judge or jury is going to rule on this new novel legal issue. And so what's happening is they're coming into private mediation. They're in full control of the outcome. If we're unable to mediate an outcome, the parties can go away just like this never happened. I will tell you, we've got about 98% success rate because what happens is once everybody gets in there, they realize, okay, this was a new issue that none of us were aware of. Maybe we all kind of dropped the ball a little bit. Let's get this thing done. Let's chalk it up to experience and let's move forward and never make that same mistake again. So it's interesting to see really smart business people handle things legally in a new and different, probably better way than what I've watched over the last 3 decades of just going all Harvey Specter on someone, right? This is just a new world. So it's kind of fun also, as a dad of a new lawyer where AJ's been practicing in a big firm for about 5 years now, big law. She actually is in that, in a firm like that, although all the partners are awesome. Um, it's just a new way and a new mindset of dispute resolution. It's a new way, a new mindset of you and I using AI to improve our products and services. It's a new way of using AI to create better human to human experiences by not taking our place, but by actually complementing that message that we end up delivering as one human being to another. And I think that's what makes it really exciting for me are the professionals, the business owners, the human beings that understand this isn't taking our place, it's complementing, if done correctly, who we are and how we do things. And that's why I'm all in on this and Web3 and the metaverse. So it's really been a pleasure being here and joining you
Yes.
today, Gail. This has been
I
fun.
have one quick comment. Keith is back saying, agree. That's why we at Jury Analysts use our real research data sets instead of asking GPT to generalize, as it tends to hallucinate a bit and will reduce accuracy. So
Yeah. I mean, that's true. But doesn't everybody hallucinate? I mean, look, here's the thing. Here's the thing. The challenge with hallucination, from what I've seen with my clients, from my own personal experiences, it's so minimal compared to the value that we're getting. The offset, the benefit substantially outweighs the downside. But you can almost eliminate that downside by doing what Keith said, using your own data sets, right? And building upon your years or decades of experience. But having said that, the reality is and there are ways to do this, Keith, and I think you know this, when we're doing our prompts, we're now in real time incorporating, Harvard Business Review. We're incorporating major publications, law school review articles into what I want the data set to look at and review and analyze and getting that results back to me. So I'm not artificially limiting my results to just what we put in. What I'm doing is, for example, with the 2 books and the 2 bots, the negotiation bot and the brand and licensing bots, we're using that as the foundation, but we've given the AI permission to go out in real time based upon what the LLMs are able to do and complement our foundation with new ideas, new approaches, and new techniques. So I think it's a careful blending of the two that really will help you separate your products and services end results from everyone else.
Mitch, this, I just want to say for people, I had you on my previous show, which was Show Up with Gail Now. I've sort of transitioned more to the Curious Minds idea. I want to thank you for being such a great guest.
My pleasure.
I have it scrolling along the bottom, mitchjackson.com. You can go get resources. You can go get information about his latest book, as well as if you need to book him as a speaker. Mitch is very knowledgeable, and I know I can't wait to meet you one day. I'm going to get down to California and meet you. That's going to be, it's on my list.
You come down to SoCal and I'll take you out for a paddle around the island.
Okay, that sounds good. And
All right,
one last
Gail.
thing, just to wrap up, I usually ask people this, how they exercise their curious minds. I'm sure you have a lot, I know you do a lot of activities. Is there anything that you find really helps to keep that curious mind healthy?
Well, I try to get my inspiration from sources outside of the legal profession. So reading your content, reading what you put, on LinkedIn, which is really where you and I are engaging a lot. Learn from other people, learn from people outside the industry, and then spend a lot of time on the paddleboard and taking nice, long, hot, warm showers. And you put all that together and your mind starts clicking, the endorphins kick in. You wake up the next morning ready to go, cup of coffee, lots of coffee, by the way. I'm a big fan of caffeine.
Yeah.
And that's where I get my inspiration. And that's where you see a lot of the stuff that you see on all my different platforms.
Well, I am so glad our paths have crossed and that you could come on today and specifically talk about AI. The last time we talked more about social media, the overall, and I'd like to have you back another time, probably talk about the metaverse. I've got to go still dabble more in that area, get back on that track. So thank you. Have a great day. And as I said, I appreciate your time today. And hopefully some people will continue to ask questions and reach out. Please find Mitch on LinkedIn, Twitter. You have your website and
Threads.
And Threads. Okay.
So I'm a big fan of Threads as opposed to X. But having said that, I'm here for you and your community. MitchJackson.com is the best place to start the digital dance. And Gail, thank you very much for your time, for your attention, and sharing me with your community. I really appreciate it.
Well, and thank you for doing some added research. I know I better understand too what's happening in manufacturing and connecting the dots. That's very helpful, I'm sure, for a lot of people. So, and you can use this in any area. So, Mitch, have a great day. Usually I say I'll see you in the green room, but I know you have to head out, and I'm sure you've got a very busy morning yet ahead of you. So have a great day.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.
Well, thank you everyone for stopping by today. Mitch is definitely one of those people you definitely want to follow, connect with. He's someone that probably epitomizes the idea of curious minds. He's someone that has been studying a lot of areas around digital, around social media, and now around AI. So, and I would suggest to everyone, just go in and start dabbling with AI, especially ChatGPT, and just try some fun things. I know somebody that just goes in and they'll open up their fridge and write out various items that they see in their fridge and ask for a recipe. So that might be a good place to start. Start with something fun, start with something easy, and then continue to be curious. So I have a LinkedIn user that said, thank you for stopping by. I'm not sure who that is. So maybe you might have your privacy settings. So I'll go check later on LinkedIn. And thanks everyone today. You can follow me on LinkedIn, on Twitter or X as Gail Now. Once in a while, I do something on TikTok. I haven't been there as much. I'm on Instagram as Gail Now 1, but please reach out, say hello. And if you need some training or extra information about AI, please get in touch. Okay. Have a great day, everybody. And we will see you for my next show. I have some great guests coming up, so stay tuned. And we will see you at future shows.